Alright, hey guys, King of Charmans here. Alright, so now that Mew's coming out in this new Kanto event in a couple of weeks, I thought it would be really interesting to make a video regarding how Mew lines up against the level 50 meta. So Mew is actually one of the most powerful Pokemon in Great League, and it's also very usable in Ultra League, and sometimes in Master League depending on how you play it. But mostly for Great League, you've seen Mew everywhere probably, just because Mew is actually really good for Great League. If you don't have one already, if you haven't used it, Mew has an incredibly versatile moveset, and also it really keeps you guessing, because depending on what moveset it has, you're really wondering, should I shield or should I shield? Because if whatever you guess is wrong, guess what? You're going to die, or it's going to hurt a lot. So Mew maxes out at level 50 at 3691. Now we're measuring this for Great League, so we're not going to go into the level 50. The reason why I put in the level 50 category is because we're measuring how Mew will go against the level 50 Great League meta, if that makes sense. So that's why I put it in this category. But as you see here, it maxed out 3691 at level 50. Pretty dang high and pretty balanced. It actually beats a lot of top meta things. But Mew is best, in my opinion, in Great League, just because in Master League, you have those things like Dialga, Kyogre. Those are still very, very oppressive. And Mew isn't exactly the thickest thing in the world in those leagues either. So in Great League, it has a decent amount of bulk and stats. So that's why Mew I wouldn't say it's a tank, but it can take some hits. So Mew is actually really good. And of course, the most viable thing about Mew, it has 44 rows of moves. It has the most versatile move pool out of every Pokemon entire game because it's the DNA Pokemon. So, Mew in Old Lore is the DNA Pokemon, and it can learn, every move in existence. You could key him in and give it any move in the main series game. Pokemon Go, it's pretty much the same thing. Now, it can't learn every single move, but it definitely learns, almost, 44 rows. It definitely holds true and reflects on its main series counterpart. Now, the thing about Mew, it's a pure Psychic type. And pure Psychic types are weak to Bug, Dark, Ghost, which are all very prevalent in Go Battle League, especially Dark with Vapor, for example. Dark with Umbreon, Ghost with Haunter, you got Drifblims running around. Bug is also X-Scissors with those B-Drills, etc. So there are moves like that flying around, but Mew, because of Mew's ability to have moves like its moveset, it can have coverage against those. It also resists Fighting and Psychic, so those Confusion Hypnos or those counter users, they don't do much against Mew, which is good, because Mew is really good. Other than that, everything else does neutral. And like I said, Mew is actually not super bulky, but it can take some hits in Great League, which makes it really good. By the way, for the Kanto again, you're going to be able to get a shiny one. You know what Shiny Mew is? You know what the color is? It's blue. It's blue. He's a blue boy. Welcome to Blue Boy. This blue boy can be yours for a small price of $11.99, if I remember correctly. That's the price of the ticket. But it's definitely worth looking into to see if this ticket is worth. I'm going to tell you right now, it's already worth buying a ticket, but let's see, like I said, this purpose of this video is to see how Mew measures up against the level 50 meta. Alright, so here's the PvPoke.com rankings. As you see here, we have the Great League meta with level 50 running rampant, and as you see, level 50 XL Pokemon run the meta pretty heavily. They're very powerful, very strong, and Mew ranks at, where does our little buddy make? 55. So Mew ranks at 55, but as you see here, it's a very powerful lead as well as a very powerful switch. It's not in the top 100, but you see it a lot in Go Battle League because it's just that good. It's able to take out the Azu Skarmcore. It's also able to beat G-Fisk, Alolan and Toxicroak. Yes, it loses to things like Bastion, Galvantula, and Mudboys, as well as Altaria. However, Mew is still able to do a lot of coverage damage. And because you don't know what its second move is, 9 times out of 10, you'll be prompted to shield unless it's a very convincing matchup. Which you see here, as you see here, there are a few things that beat it, but also you do beat a lot of really prevalent mega meta stuff. So you can take out a lot of really good things in Great League. Best used as the lead and switch, as you see here. You don't want to close with it just because Mew, like I said, it can take hits, but it's not the thickest boy in the world. So You don't want to be in the scenario in the zeros where you're like, do I live this or not? Well, no one ever does, but especially Mew, because Mew very likely won't live if it's a high damaging move. As you see in the league, Mew actually ranks at number 16. Very powerful lead. Even with the whole landscape of XL Pokemon, for example, Medicham XL, Azumarill XL, Diggersby, Lickitung, Mew is still up there. 16's pretty dang good as far as rating goes. 16 is really good. So Mew at rank 16, despite the level 50 meta, is really interesting. As you see, you beat Azu, Skarm, G-Fisk, although Marowak, Toxicroak. You'll also beat Azu XL. So the Azu actually loses harder against Mew because you don't have that attack. So Mew's able to do... And Mew can take you out with that Wild Charge. So it does have that a strong matchup against some XL Pokemon. In the closer, Mew ranks at 146. This is why you don't want to have Mew in the closer. You do beat G-Fisk and Deoxys. As you see here, you beat a lot of meta-relevant stuff, but remember the things you beat in the 2s and the 1s? Skarmory, Azu, you start losing in the 0s, just because, like I mentioned, it's going to hurt. It's going to suck if Mew eats a move, and if it's not super thick, so it can get OKO'd by some things. Now as a switch, it's its second best position, number 6. An incredibly powerful safe switch. It will, 9 times out of 10, if you win lead and you throw your Mew into them, your opponent will be prompted to shield just because they have no idea what you're gonna hit them with. But if it's something like DD, then you probably can be a little safe. But like at the same time, like Mew is just a beast. As you see, you beat the Azu Skarmcore, you also beat Galarian Stunfisk, and you can beat Altaria. So Mew's very interesting because things it beats in other Steel scenarios, it can beat it. It loses against in some scenarios, it can beat in other scenarios. Like I said, because it's extremely versatile, you might be prompted to shield. Now your key losses are Umbreon. Umbreon is Mew's hardest counter, along with other... Yeah, Mew is pretty much... all Dark types are pretty much Mew's hardest counter. Just because Mew's Shadow Claw is resisted, and even though, because it doesn't get stabbed with Wild Charge and Surf, and it doesn't do enough damage to really be super oppressive against the negative matchup. That's the only con about Mew. However, being number 15 in the lead and number 6 as a switch, despite the Great League meta, is still really freaking good. So, if you want to play with Mew or have fun with Mew, it can get you some W's in Great League, despite level 50 meta coming out. Alright, so here's my favorite part. Again, if you'd like to donate to people, please do. We can't do a lot of what we do without this open source material, and it's really great and really useful. Now, here is Mew versus a lot of, I would say, Season 6. I'm not going to rank against the level 50 Pokemon. Well, here, we can probably do that. Here, we can add, so what I'll do is I'll add the level 50 meta on here. So we could do this. So, level 50 Azu, we'll add it towards the end, just so that we could see how it measures up. Now, I'm not going to do anything fancy with their IVs because we're just going to assume they're at maximum IVs. And this will allow us to just see. And I'll key in on a few of them. Let's see that one. What else is really prevalent? Lickitung XL is pretty prevalent as well. So I'll look through the general meta, and then we'll look through the level 50 meta. That way you kind of have an idea of just how powerful it is. Let's do Diggersby as well. Diggersby XL is a really good level 50 Pokemon. It's like it's essentially a mini Groudon. And it's able to heavily pressure your opponent, and it does a lot of damage if you get it out. So there's Digger, and its stats are very comparable to like Azu. So let's see, Diggersby, what else do we have? I did Medicham already. Here, let's go back to the Great League rankings. We're gonna go to overall, and then we're just gonna go to the overall. Let's see, Medicham. I'm not gonna do Bastion because Bastion's ratings with the regular Bastion versus Mew are essentially going to be very identical. Let's see, Sableye. It's gonna lose heavily against Sableye, so I'm not gonna put that one in there. Let's do Sableye. We'll do Sableye. We might as well put Sableye, like Sableye, and we'll do Sableye XL. Sableye XL at level 50. Now, Sableye XL needs to be purified, so unless there's some kind of, like, actual difference, we're gonna put 215-15. Because you can't actually get a Sableye at 0-15-15, because what happens is when you purify it, you get +2 stats. So 215-15 is gonna be your maximum. There's that, and then we'll do Bastion XL. Honestly, what happens with Bastion XL is Bastion XL and its regular matchup, like I said, with the original Bastion at level 40, are essentially identical. So there's really no point in doing this, but we might as well do everything for science. So, gonna hit the battle here, and as you see, Mew still beats a lot of top meta picks. Mew, it beats Bastion and 2-Shield? Nani? Oh, it's because it has Surf, that's right. Okay, so Mew actually beats Bastion on straight Surf in the lead, in the 2-Shield. That's crazy. Does it beat Bastion on XL? That's the question. We'll find out shortly. You lose against Chestnut, Clefable. Chestnut puts a lot of pressure on you, and it does wall you if you use the Wild Charge Surf. Flame Charge as well, as you see here, just because Chestnut does outpace you with those Vine Whips. You lose against Dugong, Diggersby, Drifblim. You are able to beat Drifblim, even though it's pretty nuts that you're able to beat Drifblim just because it's a Ghost type. And it has Hex so that it does super effective damage. Remember I told you Mew's Semi-Bolt is kind of thick? As you see here, you're able to actually you win straight Surf and then you can Wild Charge down. So it's very, very powerful. You beat Ferrothorn with the Wild Charge Surf variation. You also beat it heavily with the Flame Charge variation. You beat Frostless. You lose against Golv in the lead just because Golv does win CMP and those lunges will lower your damage. So just keep that in mind. Now, you see it. Let's see here. You Haunter, Hypno, Lapras. You beat that. You lose against Lickitung XL just because it's super thick and those Shadow Claws are resisted. You're going to lose against... You lose against a lot of things that resist Shadow. Or resist Ghost type moves, which is basically Shadow Claw. You're able to beat Shadow Champ with the Wild Charge Surf variation just because you're able to surf it down. You're able to beat a variety of other picks. Meganium matchup will get flipped if you run Wild Charge just because you're able to, Flame Charge, just because you're able to Flame Charge it in the end. You could just go straight Flame Charge here. As you see here. Bam, bam. Actually, you double Wild Charge and then Flame Charge, so it's a very sweaty predicament. But you don't want Meganium to eat a Flame Charge anyways, because it's a very convincing win. Now, against opposing Mews, as you see here, the Mew Flame Charge and Wild Charge, which has become so popular in this league, you with Surf will win just because you're able to outpace the Flame Charge user. Which is really interesting. You're able to beat Registeel. You lose against, like I said, Dark types. Dark types will give you a hard time. Also, regular Stunfisk just because of its pressure. So the general synopsis to know with Mew is that if it has heavy pressure or it's a Dark type, you're probably going to lose against it. Or if it's bulky, like with Tropius, as you see here. Shadow Razor. Now, the big thing about Mew is it can't take Razor Leafs. Mew gets absolutely shredded by Shadow Razor Leaf. So Grass Hole will take you down. So just keep that in mind. Also, it's also very susceptible to Charmers. As you see here, Charmers will take its soul. Just because Mr. Wiggles wiggles. And like I said, even though Mew's thick, with shields, Wiggles is dangerous. And unfortunately, Mew, and at the same time, Shadow Claw is resisted. So, yeah. Now, against the level 50 meta, as you see here, you actually lose against Bastiodon. So, you would win straight Surf against regular Bastion. Bastiodon, level 50, actually is able to defeat you. So, if you see it's actually able to beat you. So, it's going to be really interesting once level 50 Bastiodon start running around everywhere. Just how you can... When you pull a Surf off and you see the damage, or you see the CP, you're going to be like, oh, crap. That's a level 50 Bastion, because you lose against it. You also lose against Diggersby. Like I told you, Diggersby has stats very comparable to Azu, and it's able to take you out at level 50. Sableye is a hard counter to Mew, just because those dark foul plays really do... it hurts a lot. Lickitung does beat you as well, just because it's resisted. However, you do beat Medicham, and you beat Azu. So you beat two very powerful level 50 Pokemon. So that's a plus for Mew, being able to beat two very prevalent level 50 Pokemon in the 2-Shield. Now we're going to go to the 1-Shield. Alright, so here's the 1-Shield. We're going to run it. And here we have, as you see here, the 1-Shield Mew is able to beat Abomasnow. You're also able to beat Chestnut in the 1-Shield if you have Flame Charge, but you have to hit the Flame Charge on Chestnut. As you see, you still get destroyed by Clefable. This is where Bastion will beat you just because it's able to hit you with a charge move because you only have one shield. You lose against Diggersby, you beat Drifblim, you beat Dugong, which is really good, DD, with both versions. Frostless does beat you if you have the Flame Charge variation, but you can win with the Surf variation. But it's... with the Flame Charge variation, you beat Galvantula, you lose with the Surf variation. So you flip certain matchups in certain scenarios. Surf does allow you to win more matchups just because of speed base. As you see, you're able to beat Shadow Champ in the 1 shield. You're also able to beat Alolan Marowak in the 1 shield. You'll also beat Mew, Flame Charge, Wild Charge in the 1 and the 2 shield just because you outpace it. And as you see here, you also beat Alolan Raichu and Registeel. Surf, the reason why you win with Surf is because Surf has low energy. So you're able to just spam it. And then after you take their shield, you could set them up for the Wild Charge. And Surf and Wild Charge have very similar energy counters. So because of that, it's very dangerous for you to not shield Mew if they have that Surf. It really, Mew puts heavy shield pressure on any opponent you face. You beat Starmie, you beat both versions of G-Fisk. Or not G-Fisk, you beat both versions of Stunfisk. This is G-Fisk, you still beat G-Fisk, which is good. With a Surf variation, you do beat Tropius. Be careful though, because if Tropius does call your Surf, as you see here, what happens is that you bait with Surf. See, you bait with Surf. If they don't fall for the bait, you lose this matchup. So the Tropius matchup in the 1s is bait dependent, so just be careful. Unless it has Razor Leaf, then you just die. Now, as you see, you lose against Heavy Pressure Mons, Dragon Breath, Razor Leaf, of course. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Well, not really. So you still beat Azu and Medicham with the regular variation. You do lose the Azu matchup level 50 with the Flame Charge just because you get outpaced. You have to draw that shield, and Azu at level 50 is so thick that with the Flame Charge actually costs you this matchup in the 1s. But you still have to bait with... To win the Azu matchup, you still have to bait. Because as you see here, you have to bait. If this is Wild Charge, here's what happens. You don't survive the Ice Beam. See? So make sure if you do... Yeah, you don't survive the Ice Beam, so you have to bait at one point. I think you can Wild Charge, bait, and then Wild Charge, but like it's really sweaty. So the Azu level 50 is still a bait dependent matchup. You just lose straight with Flame Charge because Flame Charge takes too long to get to. So because of that, you can't bait that shield. With Medicham, you still beat Medicham convincingly because Shadow Claw chunks. And you can beat Sableye. So you beat this is really interesting because you can beat it, I believe, straight Flame Charge. Oh wait, no, Flame Charge, Wild Charge. So as you see here, you beat it Flame Charge, Wild Charge. If you could, they have to shield it because it's got to... Well, let's take a look, actually. So if you do this backwards... So if you do double Wild Charge, does it kill? Because this might be a bait-dependent matchup, too. So if we change that... Yeah, so it's a bait-dependent matchup. So you have to bait with Flame Charge, and then you have to Wild Charge it down. The extra Wild Charge damage will allow you to OKO the Sableye after all the Shadow Claw damage. So... The matchups with Azu and Sableye and the 1s become bait dependent. Being able to beat Sableye with a Flame Charge variant, a level 50, that's no easy task though. So if you do get the bait, guess what? You got this, you win. So it's still being able to flip that matchup is still very, very good. Now we're gonna run the zeros. Alright, now we're gonna measure the zeros. Now, like I said, the zeros is where Mew doesn't really shine. It's best used in the lead and the switch. However, you do pick up a ton of matchups still. As you see, you're able to absolutely destroy Obamaso just hitting it with a Flame Charge. You beat a lot of the relevant meta, Chestnut, Clefable, Cresselia, Dugong, so it's not all bad in the Zero Shield. You're still able to beat a lot of good things. Just like I said, it's its worst position statistically. You're able to beat Ferrothorn with Flame Charge, so if you're able to flip a lot of grass matchups with Flame Charge, and I would say a lot of other matchups with Surf in the Zeros. As you see, you're able to beat Haunter. You can beat Lapras as well because you double Wild Charge. Well, actually, you should be able to beat Lapras too because you're in the Zeros, so you could double Wild Charge it to death. Oh, it's because Haunter, you just Surf. So if you do face Haunter in the Zeros, you just Surf it to death. Surf's up, dude. That's funny. Alright, so, and of course, like I mentioned, Grass, you beat it with Meganium. You beat Melmetal. You should be able to beat Melmetal. Or, I think Melmetal, no, I think you Surf Melmetal down. Yeah, you Surf Melmetal down. So Surf Surf and Flame Charge are really weird, okay? They're really weird. But you know what? Surf is, like, the bigger positive against, against other random things. Flame Charge will allow you to beat Alolan Raichu and Registeel because you actually are able to hit it with Flame Charge. Then the subsequent Shadow Claw should chunk. As you see here, you fire the Flame Charge, and then the boosted Wild Shadow Claws allow you to take out Alolan Raichu. You're also able to take out Registeel. So Flame Charge and Surf matters most, in my opinion, in the Zeros. So, what do you want to kill? You beat both versions of Stunfisk and Galar and Stunfisk with the Surf version. You do lose against the regular Stunfisk version with Flame Charge. You're able to beat Toxicoke. You're also able to beat Tropius because all you have to do is Wild Charge it to death now. So you actually have it's actually really comfy here. Because, bam, double Wild Charge. Boom. You win. Against Tropius. You're able to beat this is where it gets, you're able to beat Shadow Victory Bell in the zeros with Flame Charge. You have to Flame Charge it though, otherwise you lose. You can still beat Shadow Victory Bell with the Flame Charge. As you see here, you lose, but it has this much it literally has 2 HP left. So as long as you have some chip damage on this Shadow Victory Bell and it doesn't have energy advantage to get to that Leaf Blade or the Acid Spray, you should be able to take it out. So there is a win con here. So it's not all hope is lost in the Zero Shield if you don't have Flame Charge. But Flame Charge, you roast one of the most hated Pokemon in all of Great League to death, which is also very comfortable. You also beat Wigglytuff. Now, the thing is, against the level 50 meta, this is where it gets a little different. You beat Azu and Medicham. So, Azu, Mew beats, I would, like, let's see. That's like 30% of the level 50 meta. So, 30% of the level 50 meta, Mew will beat, which is still really good, considering its flexibility and ability to flip a lot of, like, random matchups and a lot of things in, like, certain scenarios, and just putting the heavy pressure on your opponent. Now, with the shield, Mew gets Beastly. So, if you thought Mew was a beast if you love Mew, guess what? That shiny blue Mew with a shield, well, this is the 1-0s, we'll look through every scenario, is able to absolutely annihilate a majority of the meta. Now, you lose against, like I said, depending on if you have Flame or you have Wild Surf, you do flip some matchups. However, with shield advantage, you beat a majority of the meta, minus a few things, specific things. For example, Surf Flicks, you lose against Ferrothorn and Meganium. You're gonna lose against Lickitung XL regardless because of Shadow Ball. I mean, just because Shadow Claw's resisted. You also lose against Munchlax. Now, Diggersby, if you do Flame Charge, you lose against Diggersby, but you beat Meganium. So you beat the Grass types, you beat the Steel types. And the thing about the Surf version, though, is you're actually able to beat Sableye. Both versions beat Scrafty, but you're able to beat Sableye with Surf, because I believe you just straight Surf it down. You're able to shield a Foul Play, and then, oh no, you could double Wild Charge, right? Oh no, you just Surf it down. So with Sableye, you could Surf, which is really huge, because Sableye is very dangerous. You beat a majority of the meta, except Umbreon. Umbreon's just too thick for you, and like I said, Umbreon, Whiscash, Zweilous, you do lose against those. And now the level 50 meta, this is where things flip. When you have shield advantage in the 1-0s, you lose against Lickitung, but now you still beat Azu and Medicham, but now you pick up Diggersby and Sableye, and you're also able to beat Bastiodon. So if you have shield advantage, you're able to flip a portion of the other level 50 meta, which is really huge. In the 2-0s, Mew's a beast. As you see here, in the 2-0s, Mew will beat all of the entirety of the level 50 meta. So 1-0s, you flip specific matchups. 2-0s, you beat all of them. And you also beat a majority of the meta. Now, the Surf version, there is a caveat, though. You're going to lose against Umbreon just because it's super thick and dark. It's super thick, and because it's dark, it's a dark typing, it does resist you, and like I said, it will survive a lot. So you just get walled by Umbreon. And Zweilous does beat you if you have the Surf version as well, just because it resists both moves. And the reason why you win with Flame Charge is because that Shadow Claw damage you get from the Flame Charge boost actually gets it to where you can edge out Zweilous. In the 2-1s, in the 2-0 is very dominant, as any Mon would be. In the 2-1s, it gets interesting, because in the 2-1s, you pick up a lot of matchups, but you lose a few specific ones. You'll lose against your Dark types, you'll lose against Munchlax, you'll even lose against Obstagoon, and you're able to beat Swampert with the 2-1s. With Surf, you lose with Flame Charge. You lose against Tropius, Umbreon, Shadow Victory Bell, just because Shadow Victory Bell sucks. Against the level 50 meta, however, in the 2-1s, you're able to beat, with shield advantage, you're able to beat Diggersby and Sableye. You're able to flip the Diggersby matchup if you have Surf. You beat Sableye and Bastion with both variations. So that's huge. That's huge. So as long as you have shield advantage, you're able to flip Diggersby, Sableye, and Bastiodon with the Surf version. With the Flame Charge version, the only matchup you lose is Diggersby, convincingly, just because Flame Charge doesn't, yeah. Just because Diggersby's weak to water and Surf is water, so yeah. But you're gonna lose against Lickitung. So Lickitung level 50 does take you out, but with shield advantage, Mew is very, very powerful against the level 50 meta. Other than that, the only ones you convincingly beat will be Azu and Medicham in those scenarios. So Mew, very, very, very powerful, even against the level 50 meta. So it's very worth picking up that ticket for the Kanto event if you're looking at it, and if you're really interested in playing Mew for Great League with this new level 50 meta shift. Alright, so if I had to give Mew a rating, I would give it an 8 out of 10. So Mew is still really good in a level 50 atmosphere just because you're able to take out a lot of prevalent level 50, i.e. Azu and Medicham, two of the most powerful ones. You also put heavy shield pressure on your opponent, and you have versatility. You have the option to you can customize Mew very well. It beats a lot of relevant meta Pokemon, and with shield advantage, as you see, it's able to take out a lot of the level 50 Pokemon and flip matchups, unless it's Lickitung. Lickitung is why I can't give it a 10. Along with that, Mew has very strong losses against Dark-type Pokemon. I know because I've murdered countless Mews with my Shiftry. Umbreon also walls it. Umbreon is very popular in Great League because of that. Umbreon effectively walls Mew no matter what Mew set you give it. Just because Umbreon is super thick and Umbreon can take a lot of damage. As you see, Umbreon convincingly wins all matches. Normally, I would give some Pokemon some leeway, but because Mew isn't the thickest one in the world, and because like Umbreon, Lickitung, a lot of relevant meta, I don't give it a 9 either because of that. Just because Mew, even though Mew's a little hard to play, yes, it flips a lot of meta matchups, etc. However, there are better things out there. That's why there are much better things out there to play, and even though you do beat level 50 Azu, level 50 Medicham, and with shield advantage you do very well, Mew's difficult to play. And in a lot of clutch scenarios, it kind of needs shields to operate well, because it still beats a lot of relevant meta in the closer. However, if your opponent does have energy advantage and your Mew has 0 shield, it's going to suck a lot, unless you have energy lead. So that's why. Along with that, Mew also gets walled by a lot of the... Mew also gets walled by Charmers. Shadow Victory Bell kind of goes to town... Like, Shadow Victory Bell goes to town against Mew. So as you see, here's Mew. Here's Wigglytuff in the Great League. As you see, Charmers do have a very strong matchup against Mew, especially since they resist those Shadow Claws. As you see here, Wigglytuff just absolutely destroys you in every scenario except the zeros or if you have shield advantage. Along with that, guess what? Shadow Victory Bell. Shadow Victory Bell also goes to town. Shadow Victory Bell goes to town. As you see, you lose in all scenarios except if you have shield advantage. And against Bastiodon. So because it doesn't have a strong Grass Hole matchup, or it doesn't give you a lot of leeway or put things in kill range, it's very difficult. Bastiodon, you do win the 2 shield. However, XL Bastiodon does actually take you out. As you see, you win the 2 shield or shield advantage. If it's an XL Bastiodon, it does take you out. You could flip this in certain scenarios, but you have to have shield advantage. As you see here, you lose in all scenarios except if you have shield advantage with level 50 Bastiodon. So because the heavy hitters just give Mew such a hard time, I can't give it a 10 or a 9. With other mons, you can kind of make up for it because either one, they're thick or they pull out an obscene amount of damage, or overall they still give you a lot of play even though. Without Mew getting stabbed with its moves, and because Wild Charge is very high risk, I can't give it a higher rating than an 8. If you guys enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you liked this video. Again, if you guys are looking for the Kanto ticket, even with the level 50 meta, Mew is still looking really, really good. And if you like having fun with it, it's still, like I said, still really good. A little bit, you need to know a little bit of matchups. Actually, you kind of need to know what you're doing with a Mew, especially against certain things. Because like I said, if you use a different charge move, a different Mew set, some things will flip. So keep that in mind. Make sure you study your Mew or look into it before you actually use it. Get comfy with it because Mew's it's a little difficult to play. So I hope you guys are doing great on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you on the next video.